So how about this? Hello and welcome. This is Patty Bennett. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am so happy that you're joining me. And I am hoping that everything is all good right now with the live feed. Facebook has been having a few issues, but we are going to go with it. And fingers crossed, everybody cross your fingers that it's going to stay clear from now on. Today, I am so excited that we are talking about the Expressions in Ink Suite. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. It is something really different for Stampin' Up! We are going to be kind of concentrating on the gorgeous designer series papers in this suite and the amazing stamp set. I'm going to give you some tips for stamping with this. We're going to make a few cards together and go through the products and look at these amazing papers. So Stampin' Up! Has never had alcohol inks, but this paper looks like it was created with alcohol ink, which is really fun. So we get all the benefit of this beautiful technique without having to actually create it. And what I did was I kind of looked back at one of my really popular posts from almost a year and a half ago. I used the poppy paper. Remember the beautiful poppy paper? And I made 72 cards from a pack of designer paper. So I thought, let's kind of do the same idea. And I wanted to show you that if you take a full pack of the designer paper and you chop it up, this is kind of the Kylie Bertucci love it, chop it theory. If you chop it up and you go ahead and you put it onto card bases, you are just so much more likely to start using it and creating cards. If you watched my live video last week on Thursday, we had a little discussion about how wonderful the Stampin' Up! Designer paper is and how we all love to hoard it. And so I said, okay, here's a suggestion. If you want to hoard it, no worries. Buy a second pack and hoard that pack, but cut up and use a pack of paper. I personally think this paper is over the top amazing. So I went ahead and cut up a half a pack, which gave me 36 cards. So I left some of them undecorated just to show you that if you select some really beautiful contrasting or complementary cardstock colors, and you just go ahead and you adhere your designer paper onto them, you're going to have a bunch of cards ready to go. So that is really just step one, is to make sure that you get your paper out. You can drool over it, you can love it, you can touch it, but then cut it up. So I have cut mine into 5.5-inch pieces, and then I'll cut it at 4 and at 8. And if, I wrote this out for you, if you did that with an entire pack of any 12 by 12 paper, that's going to give you 72 cards. If you don't need 72 cards, totally fine. You could do a half a pack, that will give you 36 cards. If you just do a quarter of a pack, it would give you 18 cards. So whatever works for you, and maybe you only need one card and that is completely fine as well. But what I thought was so wonderful about this paper is that you probably want to experiment with all 12 of the patterns. So you probably want to at least do 18 or 36 cards just to experiment and use all of these papers. Lots of hearts going by. I think you are loving that idea. Yes. So that's step one, is just go ahead, get out your paper, cut it up, mount it onto some beautiful cardstock colors that go with the paper. And you know, you can always do white. I did thick whisper white on those, and I've done colors on these. So whatever you'd like. That is step one with this system that I like to use for creating my projects. And then step two would be to grab your stamp set and kind of get familiar with the images and start stamping. So I'm going to show you a tip with stamping on that. Then I like to get out the dies, the coordinating dies, and die cut them, see how they match up, see what they do. Sometimes you don't always know if it's just going to cut out an outline or if it's going to have detail. So you can see here on this one that it's going to cut out the large flower. This circle is going to cut out this flower. The smaller one does this little center or tiny flower, whatever you'd like. There are dies that cut out leaves, dies that will cut out those little flowers, like that. So you have all those that coordinate. And then this one, we will be working with this. I'll show you a tip for using the adhesive sheets to go with this, and also a tip for coloring on it with our blending brushes. I actually did not use this one yet. I figure we've got a whole year. I didn't need to rush through and use absolutely every piece, but this piece I will be using. If you're wondering, I know a lot of people ask, what are these sheets? These are magnet cards from Stampin' Storage, and I can go back and link this on the video after our video is done. But I like to do that, and then I slip them into these little pouches that they sell as well, and I label them with my Brother P-Touch labeler, both on the magnet card and on the little pouch. So that's what I like to do with those. Also in this suite are some, it's an ephemera pack, and it comes with these self-adhesive sequins, as well as all these little punch-out pieces in gold. And we will be using those, or I will show you those on some of my cards. So that, kind of in a nutshell, is this Expressions in Ink suite. Page 96-97 in the new annual Stampin' Up! Catalog. All of these projects that I'm going to show you and that we are going to make today are going to be on my blog, posted on the 15th. So it depends if you're watching this live or not. You might be watching a replay, but if you're watching live, this is tomorrow, May 15th. They will be on my blog. You can get close-up pictures, and that's my blog here, pattystamps.com. So let's get into making some of these cards and tips that I can show you about stamping these images. This is a distinctive stamp, and so it kind of needs a little practice or finesse, or I'm not sure what you would want to say, but there's just a tiny bit of a learning curve with this big stamp. So I already have it mounted on a clear block. Can you see here how there are some really dark and light areas, some more kind of filled in, some lighter, some more distinctive, some have a little more detail. You want to make sure that you are getting that when you stamp. And I'll show you something that I discovered. So this one on the right was my very first attempt. I just opened up my new polished pink ink pad, a new in color, and I stamped it. And I thought, wow, that's kind of dark and blobby, and I really didn't get very good definition. Then I did my little trick and I got this image, and that is really how it's supposed to look. So let me show you what you need to do. When you get an ink pad, especially a new ink pad, you want to take either, you can grab an old gift card, an old credit card. I know there are like scrapers that you could get, like a spatula. I just use my oldest kind of beat up, icky, stained bone folder for this. And all you do is you just kind of gently push the ink. And I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but you can kind of see it building up a little bit over there where I am pushing it. And you're just pushing that ink so that it kind of goes down into the pad as well as over here on the side. I've got an area right here now where I can use it to ink my stamp and it won't be totally saturated. So let's try it. I just gently inked, and I'm going to stamp, and let's see how that looks. And that's pretty good. I didn't even need to ink that much. Let me just clean it. I'm going to clean it off, and let me do it again. And I'm not even going to, I'm just like barely adding ink. Let's do that again. So there you can see that we get a lot more definition than this very first attempt where the ink pad is just saturated with ink. So that's just kind of one thing to note about stamping with these kind of images. Then what I did was I just went ahead and stamped a whole bunch, different colors. I did the leaves. I've got the big flowers and the little flowers, and I stamped a whole bunch of them. Here are some of the gold ones from that ephemera pack. And then I've got them all ready to play with. I just love this. This makes me happy, this little bowl right here. So now that you know those tips, let's go through some of these cards, and then we're going to make a couple of them, and I will describe to you some tips and design ideas that I used in this for this set. Thanks. I'm glad you're all enjoying that tip. You can actually use that with any stamp that is not stamping really well. So no worries. You can always do that. You can always re-ink it. You can always bring that ink back. You can always just store it upside down overnight like it should be, and you'll kind of come back to the regular state. So first one, I featured the new Pale Papaya in the smaller stamp. So that's this smaller one. And I did the same thing with the bone folder and kind of scooting the ink away. And I added some Granny Apple Green leaves and Granny Apple Green cardstock base and the beautiful new papaya ribbon. And then these sequins are the Artistically Bloomed pack. And I was really happy with how well one of the shades coordinates with the Pale Papaya ink. So I just added a few. The Hello is in this bundle or this stamp set. It's called the Artistically Inked set or Artistically Inked bundle. It is in that. So I just used that with one of the dies from, I think this was a tailored tag, and I just scooted the tag portion under the flower and used the end portion here. But if you had like a rectangle or something, that would work as well. Now, stepping it up just a little bit, I actually used 2 of the patterns from the Expressions in Ink. So the gold striped piece is behind there, and I cut this one down to fit on top. And I liked how that just added like a little extra pizzazz to go. Can you see the beautiful gold shimmer foil on that pattern there? I think it's really lovely. And then I just pulled in the colors from the paper. So these are 3 of the new in colors: the Pale Papaya we just talked about, Fresh Freesia, and the Polished Pink, the one that we were just using on our sample. I absolutely love the new in color jewels. So I put 3 in the center of each flower to finish that off. And then this cute little die cut is the Scalloped Contour, the smallest one. And I stamped the hello on there. I really think these turned out cute. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I see a couple of you said you have shared this. Yes, if you have a crafty friend that you think might enjoy these videos, please go ahead and share. And if you are enjoying it, I love to see hearts and thumbs up too. Okay, this one I wrote myself a note not to forget to tell you about using the blending brushes on this image. So this was sort of just another idea that I thought of. Instead of only inking in Pale Papaya, I used my blending brush to add some color, and I wanted to demonstrate that for you. So let's do that. So we'll leave the polished pink out. I'm going to use a blending brush. Let's grab another piece of basic white, and we're going to ink. This really probably doesn't matter what, if you go light to dark or dark to light or what two colors, I don't know. I just did light to dark. So I inked in Pale Papaya, and I'm going to get some polished pink on my blending brush, and I'm just haphazardly adding some ink. That was very haphazard, wasn't it? Just going to huff on it a little bit and stamp down, and that is going to give you 2 colors. Now, what I didn't do, let's do it because we already talked about this. I did not scrape that ink to give myself a little lighter impression. This is fine, but I really wanted to have the lighter and the darker. So let's go ahead and do that. I did clean the bone folder, by the way. Okay, so let's do it again and I'll show you the difference. So I've got some Pale Papaya. We're going to get the polished pink and we're just going to haphazardly put some on there. Give it a little huff and stamp down. Oh, and that one's like even more contrast because we have a little less of the Pale Papaya and we have more of the pink. So you can see, you can get all different kinds of looks. Now, I have never worked with alcohol inks. Since Stampin' Up! Doesn't carry them, I don't have them. But I would imagine that when you do, you want to get, or you want to have the ability to get different colors like this. So this is a really quick and easy way to do that. And you can see that on this card a bit with the 2-tone on there. I thought that really turned out fun. So basically the same design with the 2 different designer papers, but different looks because they're different colors that I've highlighted. Now this hello, this is in a super fun new set that I've used quite a bit, and it is called Biggest Wish. And I just thought a little bit larger of a greeting on there was kind of a fun sentiment to do. So I used that one. And that set is on page 63 if you're looking for that set. So there's the difference between the hello that comes in the artistically inked set and the hello that is in the Biggest Wish set. What paper you've been used for stamp? This is the basic white Stampin' Up! Cardstock. Thank you, Holly. Let me just scroll back. Let me see if there were any other questions. I'm sorry if I missed them because I was so excited about this. Oh, thank you, Tammy. She loves the blending brush idea. Thank you. And I just thought of something. If you didn't want to do that technique with the scraping the ink, or maybe it scares you, or maybe you don't have time, whatever, I bet that if you just used your blending brushes to get the ink and you tap that onto your rubber and you stamp, I bet that could solve that issue of too much ink as well. So that's just a kind of a side note thought there. So here is one. I love this background paper where there's a lot of white space. I don't know about you, but white space usually to me means I want to fill it up. So I restrained myself and I left the white space, and I think it's just really stunning to add your flowers. And I added a strip. Can you see here? This one has a strip here and this one has a strip here. Those were scraps left over when I cut the 12-inch paper down to 11 inches. And I just had these 1-inch scraps, so I added them to those cards. Same artistically inked sequins and Pale Papaya ribbon. This one I thought was a little more dramatic looking because I used the new Evening Evergreen cardstock as the base, and I just sort of pulled out this darker green out of that paper, and I added some of those gold ephemera pack leaves. Thank you, Christine. What a kind comment. She says, your videos are awesome, with a heart. You are so sweet. Thank you. I love that. Here is one with the scalloped contour die as sort of a background. I thought these flowers would be completely lost on that paper, so I set them apart there on that. And these are the Genial Gems. Let's see, I think I have, yep. They look like this, and so there are 2 colors in the pack, and I think that this one looks really nice on the Pale Papaya cards. So I put them in the centers, and I think it picks up the gold really nicely, and just added a few. This greeting is in the same stamp set. Here's one where I picked up some of the gold from the paper with the gold leaves, and just a little note. You can see here that this did not stamp really nice and dark and solid, and I should have tested it on scrap paper first, and I didn't. So I am contemplating putting a die cut on top of that and re-stamping it. We'll see. I have not decided yet. This is something, these 2 actually are cards that we're going to work on in just a minute here. This uses that beautiful die that we looked at. It's this die right here in the Artistic Dies set. And I have used the adhesive paper on the back to make it like a gigantic sticker. So I'm going to show you that in just a minute, but I just thought we'd review these first so that you could see what they look like. I like this just on the background paper, and then I like this colored. So lots of options with that die. Oh, this big thanks, by the way, is also in this Biggest Wish set. It's just a little bit bigger greeting to make sort of a, more of a statement, right? And then I did several cards here. Those are kind of actually repeats, using that really fun Biggest Wish set and just letting that be sort of the focal point of the card. These cute dies are in the Scalloped Contour dies. I absolutely love them. And if you didn't see this, my die cutting fairy, Tammy, who is on this call, she die cut all of these for me. I take her dies and I take her paper, and she die cuts many, many, many at a time for me, and that way I have them ready to go, because it's so much easier for me to create when I have them ready and I can just pull them out and stamp. If I have to stop and think about it and get out the dies and get out the paper and do my die cutting, it just takes me longer. So I like having them all ready. Oh, thank you, Cindy. She says she absolutely stunning card. So kind of you. Thanks, Christine. Yes, Marianne, this paper is awesome. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Super sweet of all of you. Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's make a couple of these so that I can show you some tips and you can see how I created them. So I think you liked this. I saw lots of hearts go by. I think this is a really fun way to use this stamp and to get multiple colors. So we talked about that. Let's talk about this die. And I'll show you the 2 cards, this two options for using it. So for this card, you can see here where I had created that die cut. I took this, I don't know, I just had this piece of polished pink that I didn't end up making a card out of. So this is like a 4x4 square. So I cut a 4x4 piece of the adhesive sheet to put on the back. So let me show you how that works. And if you haven't used these, this is how they come. They're in 6x12 sheets, so you can cut them up and use whatever size you need. So you'll see that one side has a score, the other side is solid. And so I use that score to peel off. Now this is the sticky side. You can see it's stuck to my thumb. This is not. There's no sticky left there. So you'd want to take that and put the sticky side down onto your cardstock. And since I want this whole 4x4 piece covered, I'm just going to butt that up. And if you want to take a bone folder and kind of burnish, that does not hurt. That's kind of a good thing to do. Now, can you see how I have some overlap here? I do not want that to get stuck in my die cutting machine. So I just have this old pair of Teflon scissors. I'm going to cut this off because that would be a mess if this sticky piece right here got caught in the die cutting machine. So we're going to throw this away, that little strip. Okay, so now I have my sticky on that side. So on this side, I'm going to cut this away because you've seen this now. On this side, we will take our die and we will place it here. And I like to use these little Post-it pieces. You can use whatever kind of tape or, you know, anything that you like to use, just to hold it down so that it won't shift around at all while I'm die cutting. And I am going to just turn around behind me. I'll let you look at those for a second. I'm going to turn around behind me and use my die cutting machine and run it through, and then I'll show you how you can apply that to your card. So just talk amongst yourselves. And I'm going to run it through forward and then backward. That just kind of seems to help ensure that it got cut. I don't know. Could you hear me? I hope you could hear me. I ran it through forward and backward. And you can see that that's really done a really good job of cutting. So it's cut all the way through. I did cut it this direction. So my die is here. Normally you would put it in your die cutting machine this way, but intricate dies cut better if you cut this direction. So by using that Post-it tape, I can flip it over in my machine and it won't shift around, and I know it's in the right place. So now we have that cut out. And normally you would take your die brush and your foam pad and you would do this, right? And you would run that over. You don't have to do that when you're using the adhesive paper. You can, but you don't have to. And it's because the adhesive paper kind of pulls away all those little pieces. But I'm just going to kind of loosen a little bit here, those little extra parts. It doesn't matter. You can or you don't have to. A couple of those came out. And then I'm going to just pull this off so my die is done. And then I am going to just use, I have this old pokey tool that's kind of gunky, and I don't mind if it gets the adhesive and whatnot on it. And I can just start to pull up these pieces of adhesive sheet. And do you see how it's pulling those little pieces off with it? See that? That's why I don't have to worry much about going through and poking out or trying to get all those pieces out with the die brush, because this really does it for you. See that? Isn't that cool? I mean, that's just, I love that. And then of course the advantage to all of this is that now I have basically a gigantic sticker. And it's very easy to put down onto my card. I see a few of them have stuck. So here's what I do. Look at that. You just put your finger behind there and it pulls them out. Of course, then they're stuck all over you, but that's okay. You can get them off. And that's just the super easy way to get all of those off. So I'm just going to flick those into my recycle bin. Hopefully they're getting off my fingers. I found one stuck to my pants yesterday. That just happens. So then this is just garbage unless you wanted to maybe die cut a couple little things out of there. You certainly could, but I don't really think I need that piece. And then I'm going to use my adhesive. Oh, look, should we use that side? I was going to use this side just to have sort of a different look. I was thinking like you could put that flower over the orange, maybe that flower. But then I kind of like this side. Oh dear. Now I don't know which side. Well, you know what? Since we used that side, let's go ahead and adhere this side down, and we'll use that other side. There's more paper. We don't have to worry, right? We've got more paper. All right, so we'll just attach that. See, I did all that while this is still on my finger. That's pretty good, don't you think? And then this now is just a gigantic sticker. I think we'll have that kind of on the orange part there. And then we can just stick it on. And if you would like to use your bone folder, it kind of helps to stick those little extra detailed bits down. And there you go. That is just the easiest way to add this kind of a delicate die to your card. And the bonus of that adhesive paper is that all those little pieces stuck there and we did not have to pick them all out. Yay! Is that like a huge yay, right? Love it. Hang on, I have a little scrap there. There we go. So there you can see the difference on those two different sides of the paper. And I think that's really pretty. I love that. So just add a greeting maybe down here on this one, and then that card will be done as well. Now let's look at this one, and we'll do the blending brushes, and I'll show you another tip. Did you like that? Do you like that? I think you did. I saw some hearts go by. I'm going to use my little 8x8 grid paper, which is just really handy when I'm doing a video, because then I don't have to worry about a bigger sheet. So here is our die cut. I've already got the adhesive sheet on the back. Okay, and we're going to just add some ink with the blending brushes. I love these blending brushes. I'm just so happy that they're back in stock. And remember, you can always dab off on your scratch paper first, just to make sure that you don't have too much ink, or that you like the color or whatever. And I'm super, super lightly adding ink onto that flower. So there's the polished pink. And then I think I did it just kind of on those little, I don't know, twiggy things. What do you call these? Little twig things. Okay, so there we have some areas of polished pink. Then we're going to add pale papaya. And what I really love the most about these blending brushes is that they are so gentle that you can see here that I am not messing up any of this little all these little pieces on the die cut. They're not getting wrinkled. They're not getting messed up. They're just staying perfect. Isn't that great? You do not have to worry with these blending brushes. They're just so gentle and beautiful. So that's how I did those. And then I thought, well, these other areas are a little bit detailed. So what should I do? And I decided to grab my new Stampin' Blends. And well, the Granny Apple Green is not new, but there's the green. And actually, I only used the light, so let's just use the light. And then I used the new, oh, did I use light or dark? I think I might have used dark. The new freesia, fresh freesia. And then all I did was just dab on the color like this. And that colors in those little round flowers. So cute. Oh, one more. We'll do the green. And then I think it's done. If you were maybe a little bit braver, you could try the blending brush on these smaller leaves. But I thought just to be safe, just so I don't get it all over an area that's not supposed to be green, I thought, let me just use my Stampin' Blends and add the color this way. You kind of just have to pay a little bit of attention just to make sure that you're not getting it onto a flower or an area that does not need to be green, but I think we've got it. And sometimes it helps just to go to a clean piece of paper and kind of look at it to make sure that you got the color where you want it. Sometimes it's just hard to see when you have that color in the background. So that was the Fresh Freesia Blends, Granny Apple Green, and the Pale Papaya ink and the Polished Pink ink. And I think that's really pretty. Sorry, I don't mean to keep reaching in front, but my blends are up there in front of me. So I think I kind of pretty much duplicated that, right? I think so. And then we will just attach our designer paper to the Fresh Freesia cardstock. And I did all of these top fold cards. That's sort of my favorite card design. So it's 4 1/4 by 11, which is just a half of a sheet of cardstock. So there's your 8 1/2 by 11. You score it across at 5 1/2, cut it at 4 1/4, and that's how you get your 2 top fold cards. And then this, I didn't pop it up at all, but I think I'm going to pop it up because I just like how that looks. And you've seen me use the wonderful foam adhesive sheets many times. These are just absolutely my favorite thing to use. And I like to use some old scissors, not my new or nice paper snips from Stampin' Up, because I don't want them to get gunky. So I just cut a piece that's roughly that size and peel it off, and that way I do not have to worry about several dimensionals, and I don't have to worry about the middle kind of sagging, and it's nice and solid. See, I like that. So then on this one, parts of these are going to hang off, and that's okay. I think it's just going to be kind of a fun look to be a little more airy. Then we will do that same tip for just pulling up. You just have to get an edge and pull up your adhesive sheet backing, and see, it took all those little pieces off just like before, so that we don't have to sit and pick all of those out or poke them out. Isn't that great? I see just a couple here, but see, you can just pull them off with your finger. Isn't that just the coolest? I think I might have discovered that by accident. I'm just putting them in the garbage. Oh, I see one more strip right there that needs to come out. Okay, so I think we'll go this way on this one. And just use a bone folder, just, there we go, like that. And I did not even add a greeting on this one. I just sort of think that it doesn't need one. I think it's just pretty enough, don't you? I like it. Yeah, so that's that technique. I don't know, which one do you like better, the colored or the solid cardstock? I think they're both really pretty. I think they're really, really pretty. And then lastly, we're just going to assemble this one just so you can see that idea where I layered 2 pieces of the designer paper together. So this is the gold stripe piece that I put down first. Now, if you really wanted to conserve paper, you could totally just cut 2 little strips and put them down the sides. But I have about 4 packs of this, and time-wise, it is quicker for me just to put the quarter sheet down like that, and then to put this one on top. So that's what I do. Doesn't matter, you know, whatever works for you is what I would love for you to do. Kind of goes this way, doesn't it? And then I just sort of center like that. And I really like I'm trying to tilt it so you can see how this shimmery gold here picks up the shimmery gold in that paper. And I thought that was just a really pretty, like a wow, right? I really like that. And not that you need to know how to assemble all these, but I know from a lot of comments that I've had recently that I have been getting lots of new viewers. And so you never know when someone might need to learn about how to stamp or assemble or design or, whatever. So I like to at least show you some tips. You could use your Stampin' Dimensionals. Like I said, I just really super love these foam adhesive strips. They just make me happy. They make my life easier. And I just have a little jar of smaller cut up pieces that I use. So it goes pretty quick. So I'm going to kind of, oops, you know what? First, I see some little dots that would look better if they're poked out. That's going to look better. I'm going to put that one over here. And I like to kind of start with my largest images. And then I will put my smallest images and then I tuck in the leaves. That's just how I like to design. And should I put one down here, up here? Should have thought about this, I think. I'm going to do, yep, I'll do that. And then I think the leaves will just add adhesive. I don't think we'll pop them up. So let's do that and that. And cute. That's all you need to do. So let's see, which embellishments shall we put on this? Maybe because of the gold. I'm sorry, I'm reaching in front of you again. Should we do, no. Let's do happy colors. Let's do the in colors. I know these went on back order so quickly because they're super duper popular, but they are really pretty. And as soon as they come back in stock, they are going to be so popular again. And then, maybe 3 purple ones up here. Why not? Fresh freesia. There, those are the in color jewels. I like that. I like that. Uh-oh, I think it froze. I hope not. Oh dear. It looks like it's really a bad signal, and I apologize for that. Oh gosh, I hope this comes back. I'm just watching over here on my iPad, and I think that it got really blurry. I apologize. These projects will be on pattystamps.com starting tomorrow, May 15th. And so I apologize if the ending of this is blurry. It looks like it is, and you will be able to see these tomorrow. So I will let you go with that. And I apologize for Facebook and the craziness today, but thanks for joining me. And I hope that you will join me on my blog so that you can see the finished products. Thanks again. Bye-bye.